I wanted to ask, what's the...
Play this one.
Picking up where we left, off and on again. We never quite could forget, 'cause what we got so intense. I feel it again, I feel it again, I feel it again. We're bringing
craziness. How do you do this?
Strangers, believe me when I say, loving me is loving danger. Your heart is bound to break. I walk alone in the night, neath the pale moon. Loving's for the fools. Baby, beware of my body. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 Creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. I go where the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering my name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone.
This is renewable energy, by the way.
I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
Alright guys, sorry about the delay. I've been behind the 8 ball all day. I'm trying to catch up, but oof. It is hard when you're behind schedule and things just keep piling up. How are we all? So apparently the women's soccer team has refused to sing the national anthem. Alright. Okay. That's a good look. Way to go, women's soccer team. Alright. Alright, guys. Alright, let's jump into it. So, we are obviously up to podcast 11, I believe. Yes, I know the clips haven't gone up on YouTube yet. Oh, I just finished working 24 hours in 2 days. It's crazy hours. I'll try and get the clips up from Friday's and Thursday's show on or Thursday, Wednesday, depending on time zones. The last two shows, 9 and 10, I'll try and get the clips put up today for those. And I'll try and put up the clips tonight for this as well. Alright, so let's just jump straight into it. Obviously, guys, if you are interested in jumping into the show and talking about anything, then obviously the lines are open, so to speak. You can just obviously jump into Discord and we'll go down to the live show room. And you can jump into the waiting room and we'll start pulling people in from there if anyone wants to. Alright, so. Alright. I think everybody has access to the live room. This could be a shit show, but we'll see. Alright. Yep. So it's been a while since we did a live show, except for the one last week. Right. Okay. So first thing we'll talk about is Cuomo. Chris Cuomo appeared on PBD's podcast. You would think some of these left-wing people would stop going on these shows. Not that I'm encouraging that, but hey, good for them, I suppose. But yeah, he kind of gets a little bit grilled over the mainstream media controlled, and we'll start that in just a second. Let me go grab a drink very, very quickly. I know, hashtag professional. Alright. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. I'm just going to stop the recording and restart it. Alright, guys. Alright, guys. Welcome to Unbiased Perspectives, podcast number 11. We're a little bit late, but we get there. So, obviously today, guys, is live show. If anybody wants to call in and talk about anything at all, feel free to. Obviously, just remember, terms of service for YouTube. And obviously, if you're listening later on Spotify, then obviously, well, yeah. I'm not sure if I have anyone calling today, but if we do, we're going to. All right. So, before we get into the call-ins, if anyone does want to pop in, we have got some news for the day. some things have happened over the weekend that were kind of interesting. Mainstream media, as Chris Cuomo has gone on the PBD podcast. Now, some of you guys may be aware, we just recently watched Anthony Weiner get torn to shreds by going on there. And apparently now Chris Cuomo wants to see if it's his turn. So, yeah. Let's see what Chris Cuomo... So this is the first clip that I found, which is mainstream media controlled?
Antonio's Jessica Headley.
Play this one here. So this is where I'm kind of glad you're now on your own doing your own stuff. Go play this if you can. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about trouble and trending irresponsible, one-sided news stories.
This is crazy.
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish
Keep going. No, keep going.
the same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Okay, you can pause it at this point. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Now, my understanding of this clip is that this was a script that was sent out to a whole bunch of stations that was owned by a parent company. It definitely looks bad, and that was their argument. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but also the question is if one company is controlling all of these stations, right? If you go back here, it looks like there's 20 so stations. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's like 30 something stations here. Is at the end of the day, my problem with this is that if you can go through and send a script to these 30 something stations, getting everybody to repeat just this once, what else can you send them? What else are you going to control them with? Right? So even if it was, just one parent company controlling 36 smaller companies and getting them to send out a script, and okay, maybe, but yeah, I still have questions.
Well, I run a sales company, right? For the last 23 years, I've run a sales organization. So for us, everything, I'll never forget one time we're at an event in Palm Springs, and we're competing with other agencies, and I get up and I said, look at my sales guys on how scripted they are. I had 250 guys stand up, and I gave objections verbatim. They overcame it. Next objection verbatim. 10 minutes we're doing this. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have my guys scripted that well. When I saw this, the first thing I thought about is the only way you can be this scripted is for somebody to feed it to you in a collective effort. And it's not like it's just Fox or it's just NBC. It's everybody. So you said something. I want to kind of go through the full question, and I'll give it back to you. I see this, and then you said, well, you can't call out the media and call them fake news. They're going to come after you. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. You do that, they're going to come after you. But for the longest time, they have been coming after the other people. So it's kind of like, look, guys, you can get away with murder. I'm going to give you a little bit of a taste of your own medicine. Then Schumer, in an interview with Rachel Maddow, I think this is in 2017, if you can play this clip.
So I was distraught right after the election, but I'm now actually invigorated by the challenge and our ability to succeed in this challenge.
Let me ask you, I don't know if you have seen this. I don't want to blindside you with this. This is the latest statement, latest tweet, as you were just saying, President-elect's latest unsolicited pronouncement on the intelligence community. This was his tweet just a little while ago tonight. You see the scare quotes there. The intelligence briefing on so-called Russian hacking was delayed until Friday. Perhaps more time needed to build a case. Very strange. We're actually told, intelligence sources tell NBC News since this tweet has been posted, that actually this intelligence briefing for the president-elect was always planned for Friday. It hasn't been delayed. But he's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman,
I got to tell you,
really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them. And we need the intelligence community. We don't know what's going. Look at the Russian hacking. Without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have discovered it.
Do you think he...
You can pause it. Let me actually see what he says at the end. I want to hear what she's...
agenda to try to dismantle parts of the intelligence community? I mean, this form of taunting, hostility...
Whether you're a super liberal Democrat or a very conservative Republican, you should be against dismantling the intelligence.
Okay, so...
Why? I don't get. Why would you be for the intelligence community? Like, you could maybe make an argument that the intelligence agency is great for, like, foreign intervention and stopping people from attacking you. But we haven't seen them do that. I believe it was the CIA or the FBI was asked, has this spying on any of our citizens or any, this massive industry of spying that we have, has any of it stopped a terrorist attack? And they answered no. They could not prove a case where this big brother, mass amounts of spying has ever stopped a terrorist attack. So if you're for the intelligence agency, my question is, why? If they can't stop terrorism, which is what they're supposed to be doing, but they're seemingly focused on their own citizens more than anybody else, my question is, why would you be in support of them? What would make you want to go, you know what? Yeah, I support the intelligence agency because they're seemingly doing a bang-up job when it comes to obviously going through and stopping terrorists and not spying on their own citizens. Like we saw this with Trump, right? The Russian hacking narrative that he literally just talks about there, right? By the way, that was proved false in the Durham report. The Durham report has literally admitted that the whole Russian hacking narrative regarding Trump colluding with Russia and all this sort of stuff is complete false. So why do we need the intelligence agency again? What's the benefit? If they're going through and they're investigating things like Trump colluding with Russia, which is false, why do we need them? And this is what Trump is asking. Why? Why do I need you? Why do you do? And then Schumer's like, how dare you ask them what we need them for? Mind you, Schumer, establishment sure. Of course he wants the deep state.
So I watch this as a guy who is a business guy, and I've never been through a pandemic before. I lived in Iran 10 years. I've been through war before. I know what the war is and bullshit stuff that you can do to cause war. Innocent people die. I've lived in a refugee camp a couple of years. Came out. I wasn't a U.S. Army hunter first. I kind of seen it from the other side when I was kind of having to take the vaccine. Anthrax was coming out, and they're like, "You guys kind of have to take it." And well, I don't want to take it. And we kind of got away from not taking it. So, and then I'm hearing my friends who had to take it or else they had to get out. So we interviewed some people that got out after being there 14 years, 6 years away from retirement. Dude, I didn't want to take the vaccine. They kicked me out. I'm kind of like going through this. I'm like, look, I don't really know what's going on. I got the COVID. Myself, and I lost 21 pounds in a span of 2 weeks. So it was not good for me. So it's not like I'm sitting here saying COVID didn't do shit for me. Now some people are like, it was tough on me. We were moving everything from there to you and I had COVID. We're getting tested on the same day. We run into each other.
I came up to you in the car. You looked so skinny and pale. It was very weird.
My wife doesn't see me for a few days. I come out, they keep putting food. I can't eat anything. And I'm in the corner room throwing up. And I'm like, dude, this shit is, this is kind of legit. And then Tom went into, you were in IC, you were in
Yeah, I did in 7 days at ICU.
7 days in ICU.
Because oxygen levels kept dropping, and I don't smoke. I'm obviously no comorbidities, no lupus or anything like that, and there I was. Oxygen levels couldn't stay up. It's like great.
So the reason why I'm saying all this stuff to you is, this is not a place of no, it's this. No, I saw people get it. Boom. I saw 600 of our sales guys get it after a conference. So Sebastian Maniscalco gets on stage, and he's got a mask in the back, and he doesn't want to shake hands. I'm like, Sebastian, you got COVID? No, I'm just not feeling. I'm like, shit, you kind of look like you got COVID. But he's like, well, I'm going to do it anyways because you're paying a guy to perform. So he kept his word, which I loved. He comes up, he says, hey, okay, so welcome to the super spreader event, Las Vegas. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you, and I also had a board meeting one day where all my board members are telling me, you got to get everybody in the company vaccinated. And I said, I can't do that. So for me, I'm not vaccinated. I didn't take the vaccine. I didn't take the booster. My wife didn't, but my dad did. My nanny did. A lot of people in my life did, but also didn't take ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. So it's not like we're part of a camp. When I watched all this stuff that was going on, I sat there and I said, no wonder America doesn't trust the media. No wonder we don't trust Fauci. No wonder whatever Chuck Schumer said there, he was right. We learned how much power the DOJ has. How do you get up and say the DOJ can ruin your life? This guy's been indicted 50 million times, all this stuff that they're doing to him. So one sits there and says, Chris, you were on the inside, bro. This is the kind of stuff that causes us to not trust anybody. Now that you're somewhat on the outside, you're still with News Nation, but you got your own show. Now you see the reason why American people lost trust in media?
Well, no, I don't see it differently now. Look, I can't say this strongly enough. I do not believe, and I have never experienced, and look, people can like what I do, don't like what I do. The answer to your question is why I sound different is we've never had a conversation before. Is that most exposure to what I do is things taken in clips and put out into a context that people want it to be in. I don't believe in the First Amendment, you can't download things. All this bullshit that people say about me is just playing to an agenda and advantage, and that's okay. That's the price of entry. But that's why I sound different, is that we've never spoken before. I'm not different. Nobody ever told me what to say or not say at CNN, and I would have told them to take a walk if they did. And I don't know about any conspiracy to go after anybody other than what's obvious. And Chuck Schumer saying that about the Intelligence Committee, he needs to explain his context on it.
Come on, does he really need to explain the context on it? Does anybody sit there and think, I wonder what he's talking about? After that comment, the intelligence agency investigated Trump for 5 years over what we now know as bogus claims. But boy, we don't know what they're talking about. Really? Really? Yeah, sure.
I don't disagree with his assessment. I mean, I feel the same way when I tell people what's going to happen if they start messing with a cop during a stop. I mean, which way do you think this is going to go? Not that cops are evil, but do you think it's going to go well for you if you start shit-talking a cop during a traffic stop? Do you think good things are going to happen? So I just think when you mess with people with power, you got to be careful. What was he alluding to? I don't know. Did he create an article of convenience for people who want to defend Trump? Absolutely. That's politics. You got to be careful what you say. One of the reasons we haven't spoken before is, and I come here in good faith, and I believe that PBD...
Bro, it's not that you have to be careful what you say. It's the fact that you think it even in the first place. The problem isn't what he said. The problem is that this is a reality. The problem is that even questioning someone in authority gets you this sort of response. It's not that he said it, it's the fact that it even exists in the first place. We should be able to question authority. Right?
Podcast, I've watched about 14 of them, 15 of them. You come from a good place. You're a straight shooter about what you believe and why. I think you can get carried away with things, but that's within the realm of choice. I I don't do a lot of this because people clip it up and use it to promote crazy things that I don't believe and I don't say and I can't correct. So I just never really spoke about it, and I never really defended myself, because what is true, what is groupthink, and not just at CNN, but at ABC and at Fox before that, is they're very careful about having you defend a proposition when really you'll probably just give it more oxygen. And things go away, especially now with all this media. There's also less attention span. So we move from one thing to the next. So the best advice in a crisis is always just, if there's no process attached, shut up, and it'll move on. And I have borne that burden many times. I mean, you could play a list of clips of things that people weaponize about me. I could defend every single one, and I have no problem doing it. Whether it's the Shelter Island thing, I have answers for all of them. Anything I've ever said that's wrong, I've corrected. And you're going to say things that are wrong, by the way. You know what I mean? You're on live TV
That's
all the
totally
time.
fine. Yeah.
But anything where Cuomo says the protests are not meant to be, where does it say protests are supposed to be peaceful? It has millions of views on the internet. Like, I don't know what the First Amendment is. Well, what's the context? Some of the early George Floyd protests. You got black people, their allies, angry, yelling in the face of cops. You know, either spit coming out of them or, flying out of their mouths because they're so angry. And people are disgusted, wanting them to go home. And I say, hey, protests will be angry. People are going to say things that you don't want to hear. It's going to be mean. There's going to be hateful speech. The cops are going to take, a verbal beating. But here's the part you never heard. The moment you touch person or property, you become a criminal, you become what you oppose, and it's a riot. Now, I know Dr. King had a different explanation of a riot being, sometimes the desperation of the voiceless. But in the law, it's a crime. I don't get that. I get that.
I want to double check this. Hang on a sec. YouTube. I thought he said that when there was literally flames in the background. Chris. Chris Cuomo. When does protest have to be peaceful? I'm trying to find the video. I can't find it. It's on Twitter, maybe? The Twitter would be the clip, no doubt, but... I thought he was saying it when in the background...
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful. And please...
Right, so here's the clip here. Now, like I say, obviously, this is clip, but... Open a new tab to the right and go there.
And please.
So he's saying that while there's a massive group in the background.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful. And please.
Like, maybe he could have phrased it better, maybe, if you want to make that argument. But, yeah, maybe.
I said, who said protests are supposed to be peaceful? Why? Because it makes me look like an idiot. and advance a cause that I am defending the BLM people in a way that I don't defend, I don't know, some other group. Is that true? No, it's not even close to true. Well, then how come I never said this? Because who would have given a shit?
So if you like this...
His response is, I didn't say anything to correct it because who would have cared? Okay, yeah. Anyway. And then we have this here where he's talking about Trump.
Or Zoom, well, maybe conference call would have been better for Tubin, but there was a conference call where you guys, and they said from the top, hey, this is our shot. This is Trump's fault. This is not China's fault. This is Trump's fault. And then rather than saying, where else would this thing come from? We don't know it came from China. You can't say that. You know, you can't say this. You know, we're in Chinatown, Nancy Pelosi going out there and saying, well, look, this is offensive. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. Rob, you can't even find us on Twitter. It's a lot easier if you just go find us on Twitter. You'll find us like a 30-second clip. And suddenly everybody's like, no, it's irresponsible. You should have closed sooner. You should have closed this and you should have done that. Wait a minute. You were just in Chinatown saying don't close. Now you're saying I should have done this. It's as if everybody teamed up against this guy. And then that caused the American people, some of them, to say,
hey, Kenny Brown. Yeah, we're going back to doing a live show daily. So it's on every Monday morning Australian time through to Friday morning Australian time. And yeah, we're up to number 10 actually. So we've been going for about a week now. Yeah.
Look, we united during 9/11.
And occasionally too, we do have satellite jump in from the old show. He's just away today, so doing it solo.
We doing being divided here, and then 2 years later, we look at it and say he was right about China virus, about coronavirus. Oh, they were right. The New York Times comes out this week talking about a third of the COVID deaths was an exaggeration by the CDC. Nobody covers it. So the American people, wait a minute. Well, you should have taken a vaccine with the kids. No, you shouldn't have. Well, because the experts are saying this. Well, because science is saying this. Well, because military, 14 years, if you don't take the vaccine, you got to come out. Dude, you've only had a few months to test this thing out. No, you got to do it. So now all of that pendulum goes back to saying, listen, say what you want. You guys were wrong about Russia. You were wrong about China. You were wrong about COVID. You were wrong about the vaccine. You were wrong about this stuff. What are you going to say now to this guy? Now you want 37 indictments. You want to do all this other stuff to the guy. So what level of, for somebody that was on these, I don't expect to get the, 100% on what you would say to this. But what do you say to the people that said, dude, you guys all teamed up against this guy and everybody was like sounded like a broken record. It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. What do you say to that?
I have a different analysis.
I want to hear it.
There was no conference call. There was no groupthink.
Not that you're aware of. Right? That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It didn't mean it wasn't your bosses in conference calls with other people.
I don't know.
I'm not. And by the way, not saying the conference call did happen. I'm just saying that, no offense, but you're a TV anchor. How would you know?
Many people had more access to people making major decisions during the pandemic than I did. And I was certainly never told what to say or what not to say. Trump got what he asked for with the media. You antagonize the media and call them fake and say a lot of things that are demonstrably false, you're going to get the teeth.
But is it demonstrably false? Because the reason Trump started calling them fake news was because they were refusing to show the crowds that turned up to his rally. That's how it all started, right? They wouldn't show the real crowds turning up to the rally. And guess what? They didn't. They would refuse to pan around the audience when Trump was on the stage. So what's your problem? What part of that is demonstrably false? I don't know. This guy just seems to have drank his own Kool-Aid. And, he's supposedly going to be independent now? Okay, but dude, you really got to deprogram yourself from that NPC view. It really does. It's really going to hold you back when you do your show.
He was antagonistic. these are all human beings. They're going to take it personally at some point, and they're going to come for you. And look, I think that's true in my case, in my brother's case, for sure. It was absolutely true in the president's case. The idea that people were against saying China virus is more complicated. We know it started in China. Now, what made us sick was actually the virus flying through Europe, right? The cases that came into the U.S., you had a few on the West Coast, but it was really these people coming in from Europe into New York, et cetera, making people sick here. Does that mean it didn't start in China? No, it means that that's not the only question. It's not the dispositive fact.
But, oh my God, this guy's so full of shit, because that's not what it was. They literally claimed he was racist for saying it started in China. Remember the whole time where it was racist for you to say this? That's what they were saying. It had nothing to do with it spreading through Europe and then coming to America. Trump was literally saying it started in China. That's why I'm calling it the China virus.
Yes, it started in China, but it went flying through all of Europe also. So it's not as simple as just busting on China.
What? That's where it started. That's why it would be as simple as busting on China, as you would say. You know, like if we have like Congo fever, guess what? It starts in the Congo.
Trump had it both ways with China, and he used China to deflect accountability for himself as president of the United States.
No, bullshit. Because Trump was talking about it being the China virus before it was even in the United States, or at least in the United States by any massive number. There might have been 1 or 2 cases, but there were very few cases of it when he was calling it the China virus, and people were losing it. He wanted to shut the borders down, and they claimed he was racist for doing it. Now, what do I think? I think they wanted the borders open because they wanted the virus in America, because it would have helped them win the election, which it did.
I do not believe that if there was no COVID, Trump wins necessarily. I think it's hard to say that. I think
even the fact that you think it's a possibility should be alarm bells for everybody. Even this guy can't rule out that if there is a COVID or wasn't a COVID, Trump would have lost.
If Trump had just stuck with his original take on COVID.
You don't think if there's no COVID, Trump doesn't win?
I don't know, because there are too many things. There are too many things that could happen.
But if you're playing an odds game and nothing else happens,
I don't listen.
Chris, the guy had economy was good, everything was good.
Too much shit happens that I didn't expect for me to say I know what would have happened. Okay, you know, do I think you're 100% wrong? Of course not. Was COVID a problem for him? Absolutely. But if he had stuck with
just the fact that he says that. So let me get this straight. You had people claiming it was racist to shut the borders, claiming it was racist to call it the China virus, trying to do everything that they can to stop Trump from getting people into the country. All of a sudden the virus then comes into the country, and then you have them going through and then criticizing Trump for the virus being in the country, which they were then criticizing him for closing or trying to close the border. Then all of a sudden he loses the election. Yeah. I keep hearing you're preaching to the choir, but I've never heard the choir sing. It's time to squeeze balls. I'm not suicidal. Okay. Yeah, at the end of the day, look, I'm doing a lot of interviewing in the streets or talking to people in the streets. Now, fair, I'm here in Australia, right? There are people that have massive Trump derangement syndrome. Even just criticizing the media, saying that at the end of the day that Trump was unfairly treated can cause some people to completely lose it. I've seen it. But the vast majority of people are more than welcome to have conversations. Do the people out there believe what the media has told them? Yes. At the end of the day, are they at fault for doing that? No, because the media is constantly lying to them. People don't have 30 hours a week to sit there and break down news, which is what we're kind of hoping to do with this podcast. But at the end of the day, we're trying to sort of hit the major topics and sort of give people the alternate facts or what actually might have happened. But at the end of the day, it's look, it's once you start telling people or you start talking to people about the reality of some of these situations, people are not only more than happy to listen, but they're also more than happy to change their view. I literally had it over the weekend. I was talking to someone and she turned around and she said, "You've actually changed my mind on Trump." Because we were just simply talking about him. And this is just simply him with the DOJ going through and arresting 3,860 pedos. You know, we're talking about that and how he did a lot to sort of try and arrest the pedophiles in America and stuff. Just even that alone was enough to change someone's mind. But here's the thing. The media doesn't cover it. Yeah. But I think it's not that people can't change their mind down. It's just that people aren't getting the other side of the argument because there's so much white noise when it comes to the media.
I'm now a wartime president. This is my war. I'm doing PPE like nobody's business. I can't believe there's only one place in Maine that can make these swabs. I'm going to make them. That mentality, and brought the vaccine and right and wrong, which plays into my real frustration about COVID, other than people thinking I didn't have it, is here's the problem, okay?
And it's not that people think you didn't have it. It's that you supposedly had it while going out and visiting a construction site for your new house, while also advocating for everybody else to be in lockdowns. That was the problem. It wasn't that people didn't think you didn't have it. People sat there and thought that you're the guy that supposedly has it, but you're also, with your wife and children, going to visit a construction site for your new place.
Trump did this wrong. Biden did this wrong. No one in a white coat should be doing political messaging for America. Fauci, any of the other white coats that they had up there from time to time, should not have been talking directly to America about where we are, how we are, what we're not.
I'd agree with that.
Science changes, okay? Science changes. Scientists change their opinions all the time on the basis of information. We believe you get this by doing this, clean everything 1,000,000 times. Oh, turns out it's aerosolized. Forget about this. Don't worry about it. Remember what I said about don't wear a mask? You'll probably make yourself sick because you're touching. No, it's aerosolized. You need the masks. In science, makes perfect sense. When you got...
But the problem is that things didn't change when the new facts came out. When people started looking into ivermectin or the vitamin drips or anything like that, right? They never actually updated themselves when it came to that. Gotcha. I used to think I was a weak, informed man, staying a doctor over them. No, I think it's just more, to be honest. I think it's just time. People don't have the 30 hours a week to sit there and yeah, you got to remember, kids. People have got 9 to 5 jobs. It's 38 hours a week at least. You know, at the end of the day, it's you know, that they got 38 hours. They got to come home. They got to cook dinner. They got to eat. They got to have family. They got to look after them. You know, they got to go to bed. They got to get up the next day. They got to do it again. It's all part of the machine, right? People don't have 5 hours a day to sit there and find out what is true because they believe that that box in their living room is going to be telling them the truth. Because that's what the media is supposed to do, right? The media is supposed to be telling us the truth. But it doesn't. It lies constantly about things.
God forbid you have somebody who's sick in your family and they start and they think, oh, we think it's pneumonia. Ooh, turns out it's pleurisy. You don't say, the hell is wrong with you? I'm going to a new doctor. It's, so you found new information and changed it. Okay, that doesn't work in politics. In politics, you change your position, you're losing, you're weak.
You're a flip-flopper.
That's why they stick with things even when it doesn't make sense anymore. I remember a conversation, I'll never forget, with Roger Ailes. He's thinking about hiring me. He's beating me over the head about what he called pro-life, and I called, even back then, reproductive rights. And I was like, I don't get it. You're pro-life, but you're pro-death penalty. So like once you're out of the womb, it's like all bets are off. He changed. Why? Because it's logically inconsistent. That's very rare in politics. So what happened during the pandemic was you had these people who were changing information scientifically, but they were living in a political environment where you can't do that. So they started to get quiet about things when they should have been loud. The biggest example.
They weren't being quiet. They were being silenced. There were doctors who were screaming about things, saying about the myocarditis, the pericarditis. It wasn't that they sat there and thought, oh, it's political, I've got to be quiet. Some of them probably did, sure. But there were others that were screaming from the rooftops, figuratively speaking, going on about the dangers of some of this stuff. And guess what? Facebook banned them. Twitter banned them. YouTube banned them for speaking out against it.
When they went from the touch to aerosolized, they did not tell us the way they should have, because they didn't want to own a mistake because they knew it would affect people's trust and their credibility. But I argued at the time, it'll be just the opposite. You're not politicians. And every problem after that was about guesswork at the best scenario in a new situation that they had never handled before. Separation, no separation. When not. When it was all, well, we don't really know. I don't know. I know that it's better that if we're all sick, we should probably be not too close to each other if we don't want to spread it. But how and when and why and for how long, those were political determinations that should have been all Trump or his people, all Biden or his people. I don't want to see any white coat. You can tell me that you based it off what they just told you about this new thing. Okay, but what are you telling me? I elected you. I didn't elect these people. And political things are going to be held to political tests and standards. And we got the two mixed here. So you'll see tons of clips. Oh, they told you this, and then they told you that. That's because they're looking at, look, it used to be the world is flat. Then it's round, It used to be that, a lot of Christians believe that the earth is like, a fraction as old as it really is, and that humanity is only a fraction. Depends. What do you want to base it off? Feel or fact? And that was the confusion that happened during that. And I told Dr. Fauci personally and publicly multiple times, you got to get yourself out of that position. Tony, you do not belong making political, and he would say, I'm not making political, but that's how it's playing.
It seemed like he loved the limelight.
That's how it's being used. Look, I've known him most of my adult life, okay? He was close to my father, and very helpful to my father during the AIDS and look, I'll tell you, we lived it then too. Oh, it's a gay disease. This is what you get for being gay. They used to call AIDS and HIV grid because they wanted to tie it to gay people. And Tony Fauci was one of the early ones saying this is not sexuality based. It's transmission based. That is, fluid to fluid, but also this, right? So I know him. Tony Fauci's a good man who does things for the right reason. Is he fallible? Of course. He felt that he was doing the right thing, and he had a lot of people in power from 2 administrations trying to push him to the front because it was better for them. He gave them cover. And I don't believe that our leaders should take cover when it's time to lead. And I think Biden did it wrong, and I think Trump did it wrong.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch...
All right, so I agree with what he says. I agree with what he says about the fact that politicians and white coats should not be up on the stage. Look, scientists generally, even if you want to be more honest about it, generally they lack interaction skills that most scientists do. It's not all like this hashtag. There's some that have fantastic communication skills, but it's always that that uncomfortable scientist in crowds persona, right? It's Big Bang Theory, Sheldon sitting there being nerdy and geeky while also being completely socially inept. It's a stereotype for a reason. So at the end of the day, even putting them up on stage when they're scientists is a little bit rough. But yeah, it should have been the politicians up on stage, not the scientists. But I think Fauci is a bit of a Heimlight, spotlight PR sort of look at me attention seeker. So that's why I think he went up. I saw what was going on down under. That scared me the most. I was ready to fight. Yeah. Yeah, Australia was pretty rough, man. It really, really was. Right. So obviously at the end of the day, look, as for the Chris Cuomo thing, I think he's probably doing a lot of PR spin. I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of things he said here that are just could easily be pushed back upon, but obviously Value Entertainment don't want to come off as partisan, so they obviously didn't. But yeah, if it had been me, I would have grilled him about other things. I would have been like, well, hey, you said this and this, stuff like that. But guys, obviously let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section regarding this. Do you think Chris Cuomo was just misunderstood, or do you think he's just doing some massive PR spin? Alright, second story for the day. This was a test. How many Bucky? How many will fight? How many will have to die? Yeah, it was pretty much a test now. Did you hear about the new one? Is that the WHO is now saying that they need more control. Go Trump. The WHO is saying that the lockdowns next time need to be tougher because they weren't tough enough. Alright, so Jamie Foxx has come out with a message and has gone through and talked about his illness, right? So we're going to retouch on this because it's been about 3 months. And let's just see what Jamie Foxx has to say.
Prayed, man, and sent me messages. I want to say thank you to everybody that's prayed, man, and sent me messages. I cannot even begin to tell you how far it took me and how it brought me back. I went through something that I thought I would never ever go through. And I know a lot of people were waiting, or wanting to hear updates, but to be honest with you, I just didn't want you to see me like that, man. I want you to see me laughing, having a good time, partying, cracking a joke, doing a movie, television show. I didn't want you to see me with tubes running out of me and trying to figure out if I was gonna make it through. And to be honest with you, my sister Deidre Dixon, my daughter Corinne Marie saved my life. So to them, to God, to a lot of great medical people, I'm able to leave you this video. I cannot tell you how great it feels to have your family kick in such a way. And y'all know they kept it airtight. They didn't let nothing out. They protected me. And that's what
I would say airtight was probably a little bit of an exaggeration. At the end of the day, there was stuff that still leaks, but for the most part.
I hope that everyone could have in moments like these. Now, by being quiet, sometimes things, get out of hand. People saying what I got. Some people said I was blind, but as you can see, the eyes are working. The eyes are working just fine. They said I was paralyzed. I'm not paralyzed. But I did go through, I went to hell and back.
Actually, what they said was that you had a stroke, and was sometimes they were also even saying that you were temporarily paralyzed or temporarily losing feeling and motion. Notice he didn't touch any of that.
And my road to recovery had some potholes as well, but I'm coming back, and I'm able to work. So I want to thank the people that let me work, and I just want to say that I love everybody, and I love all of the love that I got. And man, I know they talk about people crying on videos. You can do take two, but I'm not gonna do a take two. It is what it is, and if you see me out from now on and every once in a while I just burst into tears, is because it's been tough, man. I was sick, man, but now I got my legs under me, so you're gonna see me out. But like I said, I just want you to remember me for the jokes that I crack, the movies that I make. Some of them good, some of them ain't. I think I got a good one out.
But notice the thing here, he hasn't told anyone what it was. That's the question everybody had was, well, what did you have? And he just refused to say. Well, he refused to say. Obviously we've gone through here. SBS, Australian SBS. Jamie Foxx tells fans on Instagram he is recovering from an undisclosed illness. Okay, but what was it? So Academy Award-winning actor, singer and comedian Jamie Foxx has told fans that he was recovering from an undisclosed medical condition. I went to hell and back, and my road to recovery has some potholes as well, but I'm coming back. I'm able to work. He was 55 and hospitalized in April with what his daughter Corinne Foxx described as the time as a medical complication. To what? What was the medical complication to? Because a lot of people were saying this was vax related. I don't want you to see me like that. I don't see me with all the tubes running out of me, which I get. I went through something that I would never go through. But this is that he doesn't actually tell anybody what the thing was. There's no mention of whatever it was. Jamie Foxx has spoken publicly for the first time since he was taken to hospital for an unspecified health problem. Obviously, he knows what it is, because obviously they're treating him for it. But, we still don't know what it was. The people are going to sit there and constantly say this is vax related until he sort of lets us know what it was. And even then they're probably still going to say vax related. Look, I can't help but side with the people that are saying it's that. Because you're not saying. You're not telling people what it is. It's an undisclosed medical complication. Medical complication to what? Jamie Foxx, actor, says he's on his way back after illness thanks to family. Okay, what's the illness? That's all people want to know, bro. What the hell was the illness? Yeah, love Jamie, but I don't get why a medical emergency is such a big secret. Was it a stroke? Because remember, at the time, we called a conspiracy theorist for saying that. He looks fine, sounds good. Oh, I don't know about looks fine. He looks very, very gauche in the face.
I want to say thank you.
But yeah. Cloning process succeeded. No. Don't know about that part. But definitely not the same person. Well, any major illness will make you go through this. Love you, Jamie. Jamie looks great. I definitely don't agree with that. Jamie Foxx breaks after being climate changed. Low battery, need caffeine. Yeah. But yeah. But someone did go through and like post photos of him now compared to what he looks like at the time. Bless you. Not a fan of you, but a fan of the man. Hit downtown LA and spread your love. I quit asking that. Yeah, well, that's makes you wonder, right? Is it at the end of the day they are just simply going through and just refusing people to give them the answer because they know it's vax related and they don't want to. They're sort of waiting for it to die down. Maybe I'm not quite sure. That'd be my theory. But you know, like everybody says, what's the big secret? If I had cancer, guess what? People were asking. I'll tell them, yeah, I've got cancer, bro. Kind of makes you wonder, right? Why is he not telling people what the public emergency or the medical complication was? But let me know. Let me know your thoughts on in the comment section below. There was this photo on Twitter for Jamie Foxx, just showing the difference. Let me see if I can find it. Jamie Foxx. So here it is here. This is what he was like then. This is what he's like now. It does look like he's lost some of the hair. But yeah, I did notice the eyes are a lot darker too, actually. But that could just be the lights. But yeah, like he's definitely looks a little bit gauche in the face. You know, he's obviously got some grey beards and stuff like that. He's obviously gone a bit greyer. He is 55, mind you, so But yeah. Like I say, he definitely doesn't look healthy. He looks like he's obviously been to hell and back, like he says. I think he's just... Oh, look, maybe he did have a stroke. I'm not quite sure. But, like I say, if whatever it is, just let people know. People will stop... Well, most people will stop assuming. Right? People only assume because they don't know. But like I say, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Alright. We're going to jump into the third story. Alright, third story is Barbie. Right, you're probably wondering, why the hell are we covering this? Right, so the reason we're covering this is that when Barbie first came out, they tried to claim that this movie was not a feminist movie, right? That, let me see if I can find a quote. Barbie movie is not feminist. So here, maybe. The highlight of the anticipated... I'm not saying it's highly anticipated, but anyway. We'll check out the box office records in a minute. We'll see how it's going for box office-wise. So, acknowledged in her initial meeting with Mattel CEO back in 2018 as recounted the news. The very first meeting we impressed upon Yvonne, we are going to honor the legacy of the brand. Right. Barbie boot camp. Blah 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 blah. So I believe like the CEO of Mattel or someone came out and said that it's not feminist, but then all the actresses were like, "Oh no, it is. That's why we chose it." So there was definitely this sort of, and like even here, Vanity Fair, right? Is Barbie movie a feminist? Well, it depends on who you ask. Right? So there was always this narrative that was being pushed that was like, hey, yeah, it's a feminist movie or it's not a feminist movie. What I gather happened is that the actresses were in this woke bubble. They were the ones screaming it was feminist when it was. But then the CEO of like Mattel and stuff, whoever it was, didn't want to go through and didn't want to harpoon the sales at the box office, so they were trying to downplay the feminist stuff. But obviously, at the end of the day, the movie has obviously since come out, and we realized, yeah, it's definitely feminist. It's definitely woke. Barbie declared master's thesis on feminism and a feminist fantasia. Also features commentary on capitalism. Because this always works out so well. Critical reviews upon the Barbie movie are rolling in, and the majority of critics are laundering the film as a feminist masterpiece. I wouldn't say that far. Actually, a lot of the critics I've seen on YouTube, even the woke critics, holy, need paper, please. Yeah, pretty much. A lot of the critics I've seen on YouTube are actually lambasting this movie, claiming it's like ridiculous, but yeah, we'll see. Holy, need paper, please. If Disney survives this time to flush the bowls. Yeah, it's look, Disney's in a world of trouble. It really is. And that's why I think they tried to go through and trying to save their movies by claiming they're not woke or anything like that. But then when the movie starts hitting the cinemas, people are realizing that's a complete load of BS. But yeah, Mattel CEO Jon Rim reveals Barbie film made to create an experience with societal impact. So Mattel CEO Jon Kritz confirmed that Barbie film, might have got that wrong, was made to create an experience with social or societal impact. In a cover story for Vanity about the Barbie film, Kritz first detained how Mattel did not try to meddle with the creative process of the film, and specifically the script. He said it's not about oversight, it's about control, it's about trust and how we work with creators. Kritz then said that the risk was that people outside of Mattel would think that we want to make movies in order to sell more toys. And I was very clear that this is not about selling toys. Really? You've literally based a film on a toy and you're like, but it's not going to increase selling toys? Really? This is about creating quality content. Really? Barbie film is quality content? Creating an experience with societal impact that people would want to watch. We've been selling toys before we made movies, so we're not dependent on that, he added. Okay, but you're not dependent on it, but if you do get a bump to your toys, then it's great, right? Like, come on. When everybody read the script here for the first time, we were sure that things were like, wow, this sort of pushes things a little bit. So the basics of this whole film is that Ken and Barbie live in this female-controlled world, this matriarchy, right? And the girls are like literally the boss bitches, right? They do everything. And the men are there just solely as eye candy for the girls, right? They don't have jobs, they don't have any sort of skills, they're just sets. They're just there to push an envelope. From what I've heard, right? I haven't seen the movie, but this is what I've heard. And basically then they go through and they escape to the real world, or they go to the real world, and they realize that it's literally the stereotypical patriarchy. And then Ken then tries to bring back the patriarchy into Barbie's female ran world, and they do for a certain point of time, but then the girls have to fight back and take back control of Barbie land and make it back to a monarchy. Sorry, not a monarchy, a misandry. I think it's misandry when it's like female ran. And yeah, it's pretty rough, because even at the end of this movie, they've realized they even mention about how the fact that they're going to give some rights to the men, but they're only few and far between, and that this is fair because as long as the real world is full of patriarchy, then Barbie's world is going to be full of misandry. And that's their argument, is that, well, you're a bunch of of male chauvinist pigs who have a patriarchal society, so we're going to go and make a misandry society, and that makes it fair. Even though we complain about your patriarchy, we're still going to be okay with the misandry because it's fair. Like, fucking what? Yeah, mental gymnastics. Rules for me, not for thee, right? But at the end of the day, obviously, we've got this Barbie review, the pink meaning of life. In Barbie Land, everything is perfect. All the Barbies run everything, look beautiful without even trying, and their own incredible houses, while Ken mostly just beaches without much point to their existence, besides being Barbie's side. The entire existence of the Barbies change when stereotypical Barbie, Margot Robbie, begins having thoughts of death and getting cellulite. In other words, hitting the wall. After seeking advice from Weird Barbie, a Barbie that was played with too hard, stereotypical Barbie is forced to travel to the real world to find the girl that's playing with her and make her happy again before stereotypical Barbie turns out weird forever. Whatever. So Barbie gets an unusual spin that is dumb and meaningful. The film has gotten a lot of attention before its release, since claims have been made that the film makes men look stupid. Barbie does just that, but it's kind of the point. The world of the Barbies is driven by females. It's a toy that was manufactured for little girls to break the cycle of Barbie dolls when they're forced to play with them. The film even touches on this homage to 2001 Space Odyssey in its opening moments. When it comes to stereotypical Barbie and Ryan Gosling's Ken, who is in love with her, she just wants things to go back to normal. They believe the entire world is run by a dominant woman and is existence-shattering experience once they arrive in the LA and realize that men are the ones in charge. With Ken, before he goes to the real world, he just wants to be Barbie's side, while Barbie's having girls' night every night, and these have used mansions. The running gag is that you don't really know where Ken goes. When the sun goes down, Ken is introduced to patriarchy and horses and brings all the masculinity ideas back to Barbie Land. The storyline film leaves you feeling sympathy for both parties. Ken is sick of being pushed aside, while Barbie doesn't need a man or relationship to feel powerful or even complete. Both Barbie and Ken go about their needs and desires all wrong, which result in a pure and total anarchy. But yeah, it's here, the verdict. It feels like the Barbies are more enjoyable than you think back on it. Ryan Gosling is outrageously funny, and the film fully embraces the ridiculous concept while also intellectually ticking our brains as we question how society will treat another. Barbie reveals in a silly humor, fantastic idea, the war of Kens during the last half an hour of the film is all time because of the battle of the full of handsome maneuvers, like showing off their naked chests and mainly nugus, turn into a full-on dance-off between Ryan Gosling and Sim Lu. But the second half of the film leaves thought-provoking message in your brain regarding both men and women. Ken gaining respect little by little mirrors how women eventually earned the rights to respect and be individuals after being considered only being useful in the kitchen and making babies. except for the gender roles being reversed. Yeah. Like I say, it's full-on propaganda. It's like, yeah, it's full-on feminist propaganda. Barbie declared a super feminist film by film critic and YouTuber Grace Rundell. Okay. I've also seen other people pan it and hate it. Barbie actor Isra Ray describes Ken as a great accessory and someone who does not have their own story. So, yeah, there's that. So, here's the cast of the Barbies.
Now, what?
And notice there's no Ken. There's the female presenter, female actor, female actress, female actress, female actress. Where's the Ken? Where's Ryan Gosling's character? Maybe he appears later. Hang on, let's skip. Not there still. Barbie burning party in every neighborhood. Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll check the box office in a sec. We'll see how it's going. And to Seven America, Roseanne Barr is the Barbie doll. I like Roseanne Barr, but we'll see. Let's go through. Oh, because you mean because she goes through and does all the housework and stuff like that. Gotcha. Box office Mojo. Let's see how Box Office Mojo is going when it comes to Barbie. So, worldwide, Barbie has made $337 million. Holy shoots. Not bad for a Barbie film. What's Mission Impossible at? 370. It's running head to head for Mission Impossible. Holy dooly. I would not have guessed that. Indiana Jones is still struggling, mind you, at 335 million. We've talked several reasons as to why that's struggling. Mission Impossible is also struggling too, to be honest. Like, Mission Impossible needs at least 6 to 700 million. Sound of Freedom, what's that doing at the moment? 124 million. That is still the little engine that could. Look at it go. But yeah, Barbie is definitely definitely a box office box office buster. It's doing well. It's been out for 3 days and made $300 million worldwide. So yeah, good luck to him, I suppose. Not my thing, but you know, we'll see. And I wonder how much it costs to make it. Open a new tab. Barbie movie cost to make. 145 million, according to this, is the budget. So, let's see how accurate that is, though. Indiana Jones cost to make. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that seems like it's fairly accurate. All right, because we know that was around 300 million. So, for 145 million, it's got to double it, and then also add another 100 million, 150 million for marketing. So, it's got to make around the 5 to 600 to make profit. So, it's probably going to get there. But yeah. Alright, let's jump on to the, obviously, guys, as for the Barbie movie, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think people are just going to go and see it because at the end of the day it's just a funny film? Or do you think it's because it's feminist? Or do you think it's just people don't know? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Why has this succeeded where Indiana Jones failed? Is it just demographics, maybe? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. So here is a question from up in Queensland. We have a whole bunch of wind turbines that have just been dumped. Let's go through and play.
I'm coming through here because I've been told that there are old turbine blades that have been just dumped here. Here they are. This is renewable energy, by the way. Remember that word renewable? There's nothing much renewable about these things. These are old turbine blades, quite short ones actually. I mean, they look big, but they're some of the early 20 meters, I think. And now they've worn out. You can see. You look at the quality of it. It's not much life left in that. Can you recycle it? Good luck. Great beached whales sitting here. These massive. They're not that massive compared to the ones we've seen in action today. So when they run out, of course, what are we going to do with those? Same deal, right? Just sit here. This tells the story. So $1.4 billion for the Chilumban wind farm, and in 15 years they'll just be sitting here like this.
So obviously this is sort of, going through, and it's the same sort of question that we have when it came to solar, right? All these solar farms and stuff were getting built, and it's like, okay, well, what do we do with the solar panels when it comes to them running out in 15, 20 years? I've got solar on my roof, for example. Those panels are becoming very, very ineffective. And, there's say 16, 20 panels up there? What happens to them after they get tossed out? Like, I've already had to replace one of them, and the other one just got dumped, right? But it's the same thing with these wind turbines. Wind turbines bound for landfill because of hefty recycling expenses. By the way, this is SBS, left-leaning news, that responds to this. I was reporting on this. Researchers from the University of Southern Australia are urging renewable energy companies in the state to come up with a way of end-of-life plan for their ageing wind turbines. The study, led by Professor Peter Murkowski, indicates that tens of thousands of old turbines could end up by landfill by the end of the decade. Worldwide, there could be more than 40 million tonnes of blades waste in landfill by 2050. Wind turbines have the lifespan of 10 to 20 years, are expensive to break down due to their size and fact that they're made from a mixture of composite materials, including glass, fibre, carbon fibre and polyester, as well as epoxy resin. Professor Murkowski said that turbines could be recycled, but it was yet to become a lucrative business. The key problem is there's not a lot of money in it, so recyclers don't have a huge income stream, he said. We need the government to provide incentives for energy companies. He said the government needs to re-encourage recycling or find ways to convince the industry to think about different designs of wind turbines. So the local plan, the Tilts Renewables have been operating in the Snowdon wind farm since 2008, said they were monitoring decommissioned practices around the country and were internationally. A Tilt spokesman said that the turbines had a recycling rate of 87.5%. Really? Because we have got a lovely photo here of them not being recycled. So, interesting. Current technology for wind turbine generate blades require a complex recycling process for the recovery due to their materials, the spokesman said. The purpose is to separate the polymer resin and the fiber composites, and once they're separated, the resins are usually used for energy production, while the fiber composites can be reused or recycled. The spokesman said that Germany had the world's only industrial-scale factory for reprocessing wind turbine blades, and that they dealt with up to 60,000 tons of blades per year. But the recycling process evolved quickly, and the market is expected to expand in the Australian wind farm research at the end of their life expectancy coming years. So, not the local plant at all. Because apparently, according to them, the only way to fix this problem is to send them off to Germany. Interesting enough. But at the end of the day, obviously here you have wind turbines will end up in landfill by 2030. We've also gone through and we've got this. Wind turbine blades can't be recycled, so they're piling up in landfill. And it's a very... Can we refocus that photo, maybe? Guys, can we get a better photo? Or you don't want to show us that photo, Bobby? It's because it's subscribed. You got to be subscribed. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like all these blades, and it's like I said, it's the same. I'm a huge metal fan. It's like the same when it comes to the solar panels, right? Yeah, it sounds great in practice, right up until the point where you need to recycle them, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, you can't. Spraying skies with reflective... Oh, God, don't even get into the whole Bill Gates thing, will you? That's just so friggin' stupid. Bill Gates wants to put, like, reflective metals into the sky. Gravity energy is the way. I don't know what you're talking about there, Down, with gravity energy. Let us know. Alright. But yeah, like I say, as for these wind turbines and stuff, they're all going to end up in landfill. All these greenies and that run around saying that they're, saving the world because they're reducing carbon emissions and stuff. By the way, you have to make the wind turbine, and then when it's finished after 10 years, you then got to dump it. But, yeah, we'll see. Apart from that, guys, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright. We have this story. So, this is the American soccer team, and apparently around half of them refused to sing the national anthem. By the way, these are the same girls that are supposedly fighting and want the people to help fight for equality. Probably not the best way to do it. So we got one singing. We'll say she's singing because she's got the hand on the chest. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. We got 5 singing it. At best, 5. He's definitely not singing. And they're probably wondering why people don't support them. So at the end of the day, obviously here, US women's soccer stars refuse to sing national anthem. The United States women's national team opened its 2023 FIFA World Cup with a match against Vietnam on Friday night. The team won relatively easy, notching a 3-0 victory. But it was what happened before the match that cited or created headlines. During the pre-match ceremony leading up to the showdown with Vietnam, the United States national anthem The Star Spangled Banner played over the stadium speakers, but it was the majority of the players on the team did not sing or put their hands over their hearts for playing of the song. According to a report from Newsweek, the majority of the players stayed silent with their fists behind their backs during the song. Only 5 players, is the same we just counted, with their hands on their hearts, and they stood for the national anthem. Only 3 players of the team starting 11 sang with the anthem. Yeah, we noticed there were a few that put their hands on the heart, but we were sort of counting that as a bit patriotic too. So we got 5 out of 11 that we would say being patriotic, and 3 out of 11 who sang. This is not necessarily a new move for their team either. The players' silence during the national anthem dates back to the 2019 World Cup, where many players chose not to sing during its playing. Women's soccer star Megan Rapinoe went far as to tell Yahoo Sports that she will probably never go to sing the national anthem again, then get the fuck out of the country. I'm sorry. This just really pisses me off. So during her reaction for the majority of the players in the US, the reaction of the majority of the players in the US women's soccer team national anthem during the ongoing World Cup sparked anger amongst some American fans who criticized them for not singing. During the Friday game against the newcomers Vietnam, which opened an international competition for the American team, currently considering among the best in the world, most US players did not sing the national anthem. They stared ahead while in silence. This annoys me because my family is literally military family. And my family has literally, some of their members, and a lot of them, have actually put their life on the line to protect freedoms. And I get this is an American team and whatnot, and I have a problem with the American military-industrial complex as well, right? I get it. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean you disrespect the soldiers. And I'm sorry, not singing the national anthem, not standing for the national anthem is disrespectful. Some of those men have given their life so that you can frigging stand there and put your hand on your heart. That's all they're asking. They're not asking much. They just want you to put your hand on your heart and sing this fucking Span Bangle Banger. Whatever it's called. Span, whatever, better, whatever. That song. That's all they want you to do. 30 seconds of your life, or whatever it is. Stand there with your hand on your heart and sing the fucking anthem. And they wonder why people don't give a shit about them. Why are people not going to our events? Why do we not get the turnout that the men get? Maybe because you're looking like an unfaithful bunch of fucking sluts. Sorry, I called it. US women's football team draw ire after some players didn't sing the national anthem. You mean most players didn't sing the national anthem? Some of the women of the football team are under fire for they were recently recorded ignoring the national anthem. Yeah, I would be pissed off too. We haven't fought an illegal war. Yeah, I agree, Checkpoint. I agree with that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, that still doesn't mean that, I get the fact that most of all the wars in the past 60 years have been illegal, but that's a problem with the military-industrial complex. That's the problem with the politicians. That doesn't mean at the end of the day that standing there, that the soldiers who fought in those wars have done anything wrong or that you would disrespect them. Like, if you have a problem with the illegal wars, then you take it up with the politicians. Don't take it up with the national anthem and basically paying respects to the fallen soldiers. So, yeah. Like I said, my family, I can't get into it. It's classified. But a lot of my family have been in war zones or in certain situations been in war. My grandfather fought in World War II, for example, right? One I can talk about. He fought in the Chute Trail in Indonesia. Indonesia, PNG? I think it was the Chute Trail. So, foot through PNG. Yeah, it's a PNG. That's where my grandfather fought. He fought in this. Right? This is still, to this day, one of the toughest treks that you can do in history. This is a map of the Chute track. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Through creeks, through forests, through rivers. All this stuff. Now these people do it as a trek. They were doing it during wartime. Carrying packs, carrying ammo, carrying guns. Well, the Nuremberg hearing said that it was a soldier's ultimate responsibility for actions if they ever ordered. You try and say no. And a lot of these soldiers who have gone through and fought in this sort of stuff, they're doing it because they believe it's patriotic. Or believe that it was right at the time. American government and American people are two different things and their ideas. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, exactly right. And at the end of the day, I think if you, like, for example, so we have friends of this Discord who are war vets, who have been suffering PTSD and all this sort of stuff, right? At the end of the day, you are discrediting their support or discrediting their contributions to the war by just not standing for the national anthem. I'm sorry, this is how I feel about it, right? People can disagree with me, whatever. But at the end of the day, my response is that you are literally deemed disrespectful for those soldiers who have gone and fought in that war by not standing for the national anthem. And look, I get it. When I was a kid, I didn't want to stand for the national anthem either. I didn't get it. It wasn't until later in life that I started realizing why it was disrespectful. But like I say, it's a 20 or 30 second or whatever it is response. You hear the national anthem, you stand up, you put your hand on your heart for the Spanbangle Banger, and you go through and you stand there and you sing the words. Even if you don't know the words, still you put your hand on your heart. Most Australians, we don't know our second national anthem, but guess what? When it plays, you stand to attention. No, but did you feel threatened by Germany? Or did your family feel threatened by Germany? Or, the spread of communism through North and South, Vietnam and stuff like that? Majority of the US women's team remained silent during playing of the anthem. Like, all I'm saying is at the end of the day is it's a small sacrifice that you can make to show support for the people like that have gone and fought in war and that have put themselves on the line so that you have this right to stand for the national anthem. Because I tell you what, if it wasn't for the people that went and fought in war, we'd all be speaking German right now. And I can tell you, no one would not be singing the national anthem if we were all Germany right now. Or China. You try this stuff in China and holy, you're dead. You are really dead. But yeah, I feel it's so disrespectful for the women that to do this, and And I'd say for the guys too. If the guys don't sing, I'm going to be just as pissed off. This is not a woman thing. This is a patriotic thing. At the end of the day, like I said, guys have gone through, guys have literally put their bodies on the line so that you can stand for a national anthem for a 30-second or a minute or whatever it is. It's patriotic to do it, and it's also pays respect to the people who have done that. You know, it's a small sacrifice for a little bit of respect for them. But guys, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. So this sort of wraps up the news for the day. Let me just double check. Does anyone want to jump into Discord and talk about anything that we've got on, or anything we've talked about, or anything that's on your mind, anything that's on that you've thought about that you want to talk about? Is there any story during the week that we haven't covered that you want to talk about? It's why we must exercise our freedom of speech and our freedom not to speak or sing. It's their right. Yeah, I get your argument, bro. I do. But and you're right. And there's a very big difference between compelling people to sing and people wanting to do it. I would never want to compel someone to sing. My argument is you should want to do it without me compelling you. That's the big difference. So I'm right. I'm not saying that they should be sat there with a cattle prod and made to sing. What I'm saying is that you should want to do it. Because, let's face it, these people that don't sing, do you really think at the end of the day, do you think they love their country? My guess is probably no. Alright guys, that'll probably be it for the day. Look, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Apart from that, guys, obviously, Checkpoint, Downtown. Thanks for guys jumping in. Thanks for being in the chat. And obviously, we'll be back tomorrow morning at the same time to cover the news for yesterday. Or for whatever happens today, for the rest of it. But at the end of the day, yeah. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below regarding anything that was done tonight or we've talked about tonight in the comments. And do keep in mind, guys, obviously on the Monday show or the Sunday night, it is a call-in show at the end. If you do want to jump in regarding anything, you obviously can jump into the Discord and talk about anything you want. Any story, any news items, anything that's bothering you. It's going to be open to you guys. Discord link will be in the description below. So obviously feel free to do that. Just jump into the waiting room and we'll go from there. But apart from that, guys, have a great night. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you in the next monetized video from YouTube.